How's your if we are single by 30, we're getting married friend doing?
Experience 1. Had him married at 40 options. Lost contact with her for a few years and had started to rebuild our friendship. She got married and moved away but was in the process of splitting up and remembering her old life. Had arranged to go and see her in her new flat, a big night out planned. But then contact suddenly stopped again. Found out about 6 months later that she had a car crash and died instantly. Her, still, husband hadn't told any of her old friends what had happened. She was the first one from our friend group that had died. It hit hard. Still think of her often and the mischief we got up to in our late teens. Experience 2. Not me, but I have a former coworker who made that pact with his senior high school prom date. Lost touch for 7 or so years. Reconnected at the 10-year high school reunion. Got married 2 years later. Now 2 kids with a third on the way and very happy. It was cool to watch the majority of that story go down. Experience 3. We made the pact at 15 as a joke. We finished high school and college and moved into early adulthood while he dated other people. I was single until 23 when I met my match, who I'm still with to this day. This year he broke up with his girlfriend because he said he loved me and couldn't be friends anymore because it was too hard for him. It sucks, but I wish him the best. Experience 4. We both got married before 30 to other people. She married a cool dude and had 4 kids. They had a beautiful family and so did I. I was genuinely happy for her and glad we didn't end up with each other. She died of cancer a few years ago when her youngest kid was still in elementary school. My heart breaks for her and her family. I feel closer to them than they realize because I have known her since middle school. I think of them often and hope they are finding peace and happiness in this crazy life. Experience 5. I lost contact with mine. Hadn't talked to her in over 20 years, but same deal. She married a pretty cool dude, had 3 kids, and just an awesome family. Last I heard, she lost one of her children at around 13. I feel absolutely awful for her and her family. I also feel like a piece of crap because I never reached out to her. **, y'all have convinced me that there's no better time than now, so I'm going to hunt her down. I'm pretty sure I might know someone who has her number. I don't do Facebook, but I'll look on Instagram. It's been too long, and she was my one and only female best friend since middle school. Y'all, I'm going to do it. Already know how it's going to go too. Wonderfully. Experience 6. I kissed her this morning when I was leaving for work. We got married in 3 days. No joke, made the pact and reconnected in person after a few years on my 31st birthday, which is 3 days before her 30th. We went out for a date, and we haven't spent a night apart since. And in 3 days we say the old I do's. Obligatory. Wow, this blew up. Thank you all for the kind words and the awards. I'm going to show my fiancé this later after work. She'll love it. The wedding is in 2 days. August 18th. Experience 7. With us, it was if we are still single at 65, let's just move in together, at least we like each other. We met first year at university and have been close friends ever since. She died of breast cancer at 63. Miss her every day. Experience 8. She's been living a wild life. We made the pact at 22, she got married by 24, divorced by 25, new relationship and got pregnant at 26, married at 28 and divorced at 30. In that time, she dropped out of college, went back to college, completed her associates, got nailed for a few substance charges and is currently fighting for custody of her kid with the dad. Experience 9. This is actually my time to shine. I met Lisa when I was in high school through a mutual friend. Lisa lived about 4 hours, but we kept in touch by writing letters. This was in the 1980s. We met up for a spring break trip at the beach and got along well since we hadn't seen each other in several years. We both went to different colleges and dated on and off during our college years. After college we dated, then she went to Germany for 3 years. We'd see each other casually when she'd come home, but nothing serious. When she came back home from Germany, we started seeing each other again. We made a pact that if we were not married by 30, we'd get married. We drifted apart a bit at 29 years old and we were both dating other people. She ended up marrying the person she was dating, and I ended up marrying the person I was dating. We both went to each other's weddings with our respective SOs. We'd meet as couples and go to dinner sometimes and once vacation together for a long weekend. Our kids went to the same school for a while, too. Then we lost touch for about 5 years, until one day I ran into Lisa at a local Starbucks. I heard someone call my name and it was Lisa. We hugged and caught up for a while. I then asked her how her husband was doing, and she said they split up about a year ago. She asked about my wife, and I told her we split about 10 months ago. We looked at each other and I asked her if she'd meet me for coffee the next day, and she immediately said yes. We dated for several years and got married in December 2021. Experience 10. This actually did happen for a friend of mine and his wife. But it was more of a conversation along the lines of, hey, remember that pact we made when we were 18 about getting married at 30 if we were both single? Well, we are now 30 and single. Did you want to give dating a shot? 5 years later and they are now happily married. I have no idea why they didn't give dating a shot years before, but that is none of my business. Experience 11. She's married to my good friend. But things are rocky. I just got divorced, so maybe we'll revisit this in our 40s? Just kidding. Edit. Thanks for the love. I actually just saw my good friend last week. That's when he shared that they had discussed the D word and that he cheated on her once. I said if he wanted to keep her, don't ever tell her about that and don't do it again. Also, he may want to cut down on drinking. She's also a good friend of mine, so I know that's one of her gripes. I really don't want them to split because I'm so proud of them. They are former heroin addicts who successfully kicked addiction and they have 2 kids. Experience 12. I had a friend in middle/high school who told me we should make a marriage pact. If we weren't married by 30, we'd get married. I lost contact with her after high school because she had a scary, jealous boyfriend. She randomly added me on Facebook and asked for my phone number. I didn't think it was a big deal, so I sent it. She sent me a very graphic photo of herself and said, "Hey, it's me, Crisis." And I was like, hot damn. We talked for a bit that day, but that was our only real conversation. She had brought up our pact and we joked about it for a bit. A few months later she messaged me asking if she could use my shower because her water got shut off. I thought that was unusual, so I just told her it wasn't a good time. That's happened to me before and I'd normally message a family member or close friend. A couple of days later she posted a video of her and some dude, not her old boyfriend, smoking substances under a freeway overpass. She had a bandana on her face, and they filmed themselves smoking head-banging to music thinking they looked badass. I felt really bad for her at that point. Then I wondered if I had let her use my shower if she would have robbed me with her cholo-looking boyfriend. Not too long after that, her boyfriend started posting online that she was missing and he couldn't locate her. 2 weeks after that he changed his status to single on Facebook and I still haven't heard from my childhood friend. I hope she's okay out there. Really hope she can get her ish together and get clean. Experience 13. I do actually have a friend who did this. They reconnected after not seeing each other for a good while. They laughed and reminisced about their funny agreement to get married at 30 if they hadn't met someone else. They did get married pretty quickly and were happy for about a year. Then they spent a couple more years miserable together. Things got very bad, and he ended up divorcing her. He's now happily married to someone who seems to be much better for him. Experience 14. I have a friend who says this to me every once in a while. I'd have no problem with that, except she makes it sound like she'd be miserable if she had to end up with me, so no thanks. You keep dating horrible men and I'll watch from the sideline if I have time. Experience 15. Over COVID, I saw her profile pop up on my Switch, so I reached out to her and started catching up for the first time since I moved away for college. One thing led to another. I asked her if she'd like to move up the timeline on our promise, and we plan to get married next fall at the nice young age of 26. Experience 16. Not me, but my mom's if we're still single 20 years from now. Friend lives right down the street from her, and every time she sees him, she hides, so let's say it's not going well. Experience 17. He's married to a gorgeous woman with 2 of the cutest babies I've ever seen. He's a white man and was racist AF in high school, something my hormonal ass was willing to overlook, but now he owns a gym with his best friend who is black, and his wife is Asian. The dude turned around and achieved his dreams in the best way imaginable. Killer combo. Living is his best life. And I'm in a long-term relationship myself, so we're both out here just killing it. Experience 18. He's divorced, depressed, and addicted. I had to block him because he was in the habit of making many late-night calls when he drank, and he's now a full-blown alcoholic. I advised therapy, and he said beer was his therapy. Waking up to 40+ drunken text messages and 10+ missed calls is not really something I find palatable for a friendship, especially after setting boundaries. My husband never complained or made any comments, he just let me sort it out on my own. Experience 19. My current BF told me that in high school when we were just friends that we're best friends, and if I don't find a wife by 30, we're getting married. We decided just to date each other 6 months later. It's been 7 years now together. Experience 20. He's a rather successful programmer and an overall great guy, so I'm unsure why he's single still. We made the pact when we were 15. I am happily married to an amazing man, so sometimes I think of my promised friend and hope that a spectacular woman, or man, if that's what he wants, finds their way into his life. I wish him nothing but happiness, whichever form it takes. Experience 21. He's driving. We are pulling our camper. Our 9-year-old is in the back seat. We just finished a 4-night camping trip with his younger brother and his fiancée, also an if we're single couple. They have 2 girls, 2 and 4. We are all still excellent friends. My Bill and his fiancée dated right after high school. My husband and I didn't hook up until 2 days before we eloped. Married 11 years yesterday. Friends since '94. Experience 22. Ours was 35 actually. She lives a few states away. She lives with her ex-boyfriend because her current boyfriend still lives with his mom. She has an animal addiction. She can't say no when someone wants to sell her a living creature. She has dogs, cats, rats, snakes, sugar gliders, fish, and other random stuff to round out her zoo. She can't work because of her anxiety, except she totally had a job for like 6 years, but complained through that whole time that she couldn't work. She wants to go on disability, but just thought she could go in and get on it by filing some paperwork, and that was it. She doesn't trust doctors, so she has no documented proof of all of her ailments. She is broke, the ex and her current boyfriend pay all of her bills, she sits at home and takes care of all these pets all day and is generally a drain on society. But she complains about always being broke. So, in other words, I dodged a freaking bullet. Experience 23. Not quite the same, but I know a guy that in his late 20s realized he was ready to get married. Hadn't had a girlfriend in years. But he recalled a friend he had in his late teens, maybe early 20s. Anyways, he thought, wow, this girl could potentially be a great wife, and started thinking about her in a different light than he had in the past. Anyway, he decides to write her a letter and said something to the effect of,
Hey, this might seem odd, but I was recently thinking through life and feel like I'm at a point where I would like to get married. When I started thinking about women that I thought would be great to be married to, you were the first to come to mind. If you are interested in reconnecting, let me know. If not, no worries at all. I apologize if this is uncomfortable or too straightforward.
She was very flattered, and they started dating shortly after, followed up by marriage within a year.
We hope you enjoyed listening to today's stories. If you want to see more stories, check out these videos or check the links in the description for more videos. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And ring that notification bell.